This is not about law enforcement. This is about winning elections and about power. That's why they brought in 20 million illegal immigrants during their presidency, because they want to change the way we do business in the future. Shame on them.
Shame on them. Those words are echoing through Washington right now, and they're not about politics as usual. They're about national security, public safety, and whether America's leaders are willing to play games with the agencies that protect this country. If you care about what's really happening behind the headlines like this video, subscribe to the Capitol Current, and let's break this down clearly and calmly.
Rich McCormick serving on the House Foreign Affairs Committee as well as the House Armed Services Committee. It's not lost on me on this program that it is TSA, it's Secret Service, FEMA, and others, not ICE, that would be potentially hurt by this decision to not push through funding for DHS. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, this is so frustrating. As a guy who, I was a Marine Corps officer, we didn't ever have to worry about this. When I was in, you talk about defunding the military, defunding law enforcement. It's ridiculous. As you just said, this is not going to directly affect ICE. They're actually going to have a decrease in what they want. They're not going to have body cams. They're not going to have extra training. They're not going to have a better result. They're going to have worse. They want the issue, not the solution. That's what they've been. The things they're asking for is laughable. When you talk about having IDs, their first and last name, and uncovering their face, that's way more than you wanted for voter identification. I find that total hypocrisy. You know that's just for doxing. You know that's to threaten people's families. There's no other possible reason you want that. They're already well identified as ICE agents. You don't like what they're doing? Fine. Change the law. But that's not what you're after right now. You're after harassment. You're trying to make an issue, trying to make something to hurt the president and the conservative movement. This is not about law enforcement. This is about winning elections and about power. That's why they brought in 20 million illegal immigrants during their presidency, because they want to change the way we do business in the future. Shame on them.
This week, Congressman Rich McCormick of Georgia delivered a blunt message after Democrats threatened to block funding for the Department of Homeland Security. McCormick, a former Marine Corps officer and current member of the House Armed Services and Foreign Affairs Committees, says the public is being misled about who would actually be hurt by this move. Despite the rhetoric, this funding fight doesn't just affect ICE. According to McCormick, a failure to fund DHS would directly impact TSA officers at our airports, Secret Service agents protecting national leaders, and FEMA teams responding to disasters. These are frontline public servants, not political abstractions. From a national security standpoint, that matters. McCormick argues that defunding law enforcement and security agencies isn't reform, it's negligence. He points out that under the proposals being discussed, ICE itself would actually lose funding for accountability measures like body cameras and training, leading to worse outcomes, not better ones. One of the strongest moments in his remarks came when he addressed demands that ICE agents display detailed personal identification. McCormick called it blatant hypocrisy, especially from lawmakers who oppose voter ID laws, and warned that it puts agents and their families at risk of harassment. His position is straightforward. If Congress wants to change immigration policy, pass new laws. Don't target the men and women tasked with enforcing existing ones.
Let's talk about the merits of the argument itself against those against funding DHS. There's a proposal out there introduced, and it seems to be a non-starter, but it was introduced yesterday by Democratic Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, the ranking member of the House Appropriations Committee. So she's calling for a bill that would fund every agency under the DHS umbrella except for ICE, CBP, and the Office of the Secretary. In fact, here's what she said in a statement. Immigration and Customs Enforcement cannot be abolished, but I will not provide a single dime of funding until we see radical changes in how it operates. If Republican leadership blocks this legislation from moving forward, they are responsible for any shuttered agencies, furloughed workers, missed paychecks, and reduced services. Now, I want to point out Senate Majority Leader John Thune, he's already dismissed this proposal. So again, appearing to be a non-starter. But what does that tell you about the merits of this argument from the left?
First of all, we shouldn't be paying attention to that individual congresswoman because we passed in Congress what we had to pass. This is entirely on the Senate right now. What she says is inconsequential other than just banter, distraction from the ultimate goal of passing 12 appropriations bills, funding the government, getting on with business like the people charged us with, actually taking care of immigration in a very responsible way. We did our part in the House. It's up now to the Senate. I find it actually insulting that the Senate's going to continue on going to Munich and to other Codels, where we canceled our schedule, even though we're not the problem. And I hold our leadership responsible for this, by the way. I never speak against leadership. I'm not against leadership. I think it's self-punishment to pretend like we're the problem. We are not the problem. Congress did our job. It's up to the Senate now. It's ironic that they're the ones that are going to be traveling, and we're not going to participate in Munich Security Council or NATO in the most germane time of NATO's existence. And we have the controlling votes in NATO. We're not going to be there because as if we're the problem. The Congress is not the problem. We did our job. Senate, let's get to it.
The discussion then turned to a Democratic proposal introduced by Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, which would fund DHS but strip funding from ICE, Customs and Border Protection, and the DHS Secretary's office. McCormick dismissed the proposal as political posturing. He emphasized that the House has already passed its appropriations bills and that responsibility now lies with the Senate. He also criticized Senate leadership for delaying action while traveling abroad, arguing that at a moment of global instability, American security should come first. From a patriotic perspective, the principle is clear. A sovereign nation must maintain secure borders, functioning institutions, and accountability without paralysis. You don't improve government by hollowing it out. You don't protect civil liberties by undermining public safety. And you don't serve the American people by turning national security into leverage. Reasonable people can debate immigration policy, but defunding enforcement agencies while crises continue isn't reform, it's avoidance. America deserves solutions rooted in law, order, and accountability, not chaos dressed up as compassion. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe blocking DHS funding puts Americans at risk? Or is this a necessary pressure tactic? Share your thoughts in the comments. Keep it respectful, real discussion matters. And if you value clear, fact-driven analysis without the noise like this video, subscribe to the Capitol Current and stay with us. This funding battle is far from over.